Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on wherever you are in the world. This is Tay from Village Gaming, your resident lore master. So, I just want to let everybody know, we are going over something very exciting in my opinion today. So we are going to be comparing and contrasting the organizations here in Palworld, the new overnight sensation that is taking the world by storm, and we're going to be looking at the villainous organizations in Pokemon and see how they kind of compare and contrast. So I just want to give everybody a heads up, spoilers ahead. If you do not want to see anything in this game right now because you have not picked it up, if you are not at these places yet and don't want to see or hear of these places yet that I may speak of within this video, you have been warned. Potential spoilers ahead. Stop the video now or continue at your own risk. But anyway, let's dive on into it. Alrighty, so the first faction that we're going to cover is the Rayne Syndicate. Now, depending on how you play the game, the Rayne Syndicate may or may not be the first faction that you encountered. Now, the Rayne Syndicate primarily excels at using ranged weapons. Now, these ranged weapons can go from the lowly handgun all the way up to the mighty Gatling gun, but we'll get into that later. Now, the Rayne Syndicate, in my opinion, compares more so to the iconic Team Rocket from the Pokemon series. And the reason for this is that the Rayne Syndicate's main focus, kind of like Team Rocket's main focus in the series, is stealing or capturing pals. They are the island's most notorious poachers. They are here to get a profit. They are here to take as many pals as possible, whether they be wild pals or whether they be your own pals. Now, this makes them very relatable to Team Rocket and their notorious leader, Giovanni, who is an amazing businessman by day, but a notorious poacher by night. Now, one unique thing about the Rayne Syndicate, kind of like how the Team Rocket trio has made themselves known throughout every region in the Pokemon universe, the Rayne Syndicate has the most diverse range of mobs compared to any other enemy faction in the game. Now, the Rayne Syndicate goes from the lowly Syndicate Thug all the way up to the mighty and imposing Syndicate Crusher. So this is just something to look out for in the game, because unlike the other factions that kind of have their set levels, the Rayne Syndicate kind of follows you as you level and you encounter them in numerous places throughout the game. The Free Pal Alliance is one of the more confusing factions on the Isles because their intentions upon first interaction aren't all too clear, but upon completing their boss battle and unlocking the weapon of their leader through the Ancient Technologies tab and reading its description, it becomes apparent that they are here to save pals from abusive owners and liberate them from the intense work camps that the guilds and other factions often subject their pals to. In my opinion, this makes them a close comparison to Team Plasma and their original mission to liberate all Pokemon from their trainers by forcing their trainers to release them or by stealing them, which in their ideology saves them from potential harm. This was Team Plasma's original intent before they were corrupted by the reclusive religious leader Getsis and his 7 monks into pursuing world domination, which backs the spiritual aspect of this faction whose members are all titled devout and wear religious like robes. Though still a small sect of Team Plasma members still believed in their original cause, and they followed N, who they believed to be their true leader, as he wanted to save and protect Pokemon, which compares more to the leader of the Free Pal Alliance. And if you look closely at N's color scheme, you can see that the colors of the Free Pal Alliance share an uncanny resemblance. Now moving on to the faction who I believe has the most dangerous ideology in the game, the overzealous brothers of the Eternal Pyre. Their motives aren't outright stated within the game or easily determined, but based upon the interactions that we have with them, it becomes apparent that they have only but one desire, and that is to cover the Palpagos Islands in a blanket of ever-burning flames. Thus, they only wield flamethrowers and are often encountered in locations of extreme heat, with members bearing the moniker Comrades of the Eternal Martyr. These guys are dangerous and will stop at nothing to achieve their goals, and they do not care how many lives are lost in the process, so in my obvious opinion, they are very similar to Team Magma from the Pokemon series. They have a very similar goal in which the brothers desire to cover the world in eternal fire, whereas Team Magma and their leader Maxie had an ultimate goal to expand the landmass of the world by using the legendary Pokemon Groudon to cause worldwide volcanic eruptions, expanding the continents. These guys are often encountered at mid to higher levels, and extreme caution should be utilized when taking them on. You can often find yourself or your pal being overwhelmed with lingering burning damage when going up against these guys, so be sure to take that into account every time you go to somewhere where there's extreme heat, such as the volcanic area or the desert area. And now we get to go over my favorite faction in the game by a huge margin, the PAL Genetic Research Unit. Now these guys are cool and they look absolutely awesome. They're a technologically advanced organization that wields energy weapons and dons highly advanced armor that allows them to take just as much damage as they can dish out. Now, if it wasn't obvious by the name, these guys are here on the island to collect and experiment on the PAL genome in order to advance their technology. By exploiting the DNA of PALs, these guys have become the most advanced faction on the island. This faction has a striking similarity to the Ether Foundation, the Pokemon series, whose main goal at face value was to cure hurt Pokemon, but upon further investigation they achieved this by experimenting and modifying the DNA of Pokemon. This led to the creation of the Pokemon type Null, who shares a striking resemblance to the PAL Shadowbeak, who's the chosen PAL of the faction's leader. The Ether Foundation, like the PAL Genetic Research Unit, are highly advanced and even achieved huge feats of engineering, such as their massive floating base of operations and their more than competent research and development teams. The PAL Genetic Research Unit is for all intents and purposes the toughest hostile faction in the game, and this is evident even in the names of their soldiers, who are called Genetic Research Corps Executioners. These guys operate like a type of death squad, with their main focus being to eliminate any threats to their organization, and for whatever reason, we've been labeled a threat. Lastly, this next faction isn't considered an enemy per se, but they can become hostile if certain conditions are met. The organization that I speak of are the Papagos Islands Defense Force, or the PIDF for short. They act as a police force within the islands, defending settlements and suppressing criminal activity. They also protect rare and endangered PALs from poachers by relocating them to wildlife sanctuaries dotted around the outskirts of the island chain. For these reasons, they are very much like Pokemon Rangers from the Pokemon series. Pokemon Rangers acted as a cross between a police officer and a park ranger. Their primary job in the series was to arrest Pokemon poachers and prosecute criminals who use Pokemon to commit crimes. If you change the word Pokemon in that statement to PALs, then you have the job of the PIDF. The PIDF will remain neutral to the player unless crimes are committed against passive NPCs inside settlements, or the player is caught poaching PALs from one of the few wildlife sanctuaries located off the coast of the main islands. The PIDF deploys a diverse collection of mobs with generic officers ranging from the PIDF Slacker to the PIDF Infantry and Elites. These guys can be your best friends or your worst enemies in game. It's up to you to decide. And folks, that is all that I have for you today. I hope that you all enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.